If you guys have watched my last two videos, I actually started doing the GAPS protocol, which is the gut and psychology or gut and physiology syndrome protocol that you do when you're trying to fix your gut health. Now, I am doing this for about 18 to 30 days. I'm not exactly sure because you just kind of go with however your body is just handling everything. But then I'm going to be working with my sister. I did a GI map with her. I'm waiting for those results still, but I'm going to be working with her to actually fix my gut health because I think I have SIBO again, and I just always have bloating and problems and, problems with losing weight. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys what I am eating for my second week of doing GAPS. So this is day 8. I'm starting out breakfast with some leftover soup. I think it was the cauliflower and leek soup, and I'm adding the soft-boiled egg and some sauerkraut. If you didn't watch my other videos, every single day you're kind of eating soup. Actually in this video, I think it's in this video where I actually start not having to eat soup, which is great, but you always have like fermented foods with it. So this was homemade sauerkraut with some leftover butternut squash soup. And then you have like for garlic in your soup and some type of fat. So you might see it in like every single clip where I'm adding fat to my bowl of soup and some type of fermented veggie. But that's kind of like the base of it because the meat stock is going to be like healing your gut, and then the fermented foods and everything really help with that too. I believe in this video I am in stage 3 or maybe the end of stage 2. I can't quite remember, but right now I'm making a fish stock. So I got whole fish from Costco. It was actually really hard to find whole fish places, and I cooked that for a couple hours with some water and I think peppercorns and maybe onion. And so I'm straining out my broth, and then I'm going to pick apart the fish so I can use the fish in an actual soup. So here I am. I'm going to start the soup, and I'm adding some onions, and then I think I'm adding parsley and zucchini and carrots. And this actually made a really good soup. The only problem is it was really hard to get the bones, like get every single one of the bones out of the fish. So that was not fun. The great thing about GAPS is it looks like I'm always cooking and prepping, but I'm actually having a harder time, I feel like, keeping up because now I'm actually on week 3 as I am doing this voiceover. And I feel like the first 2 weeks were much easier to keep up with the prep because you're literally just eating soups and fermented foods. And so I was able to make a lot of my fermented foods even before I started GAPS, and it's been easy to just keep up with them. And then it was really nice because I would just eat leftovers for breakfast and lunch and not have to think about what am I eating for breakfast. And then I would just make a big pot of soup every single day. So the first 2 weeks were like really simple, but now it's becoming a little bit more of food prep. So for day 9, I am actually scrambling some eggs, and I am going to have kind of like an omelet. I'm just cutting up some spinach and some leftover chicken that I had. And then I'm going to pair this with some of my homemade sauerkraut. And then later on, I think I was really wanting coffee. And so I ended up making the roasted dandelion tea with the Russian custard in it. And this has been just so helpful for me to have some type of like creamy hot beverage. So it's not exactly like coffee, but it tastes really good. It's just egg yolks that you beat with some honey, and then you put that in your tea. Make sure it's not too hot of tea because it will just like curdle it. So I'm having that tea, and then again some leftover cauliflower and leek soup, and I'm putting some ghee on there. I'm actually about to make more ghee because, as you can see, I'm using up the rest of it. So I'm about to make my second batch of ghee, and this is what has been like just so easy, is like while I'm using up stuff, then I start getting like the next batch ready. So I'm making ghee today. I'm bottling up my kombucha. So I actually made homemade kombucha, and while I'm bottling this up, I actually am getting the tea ready to just go ahead and start another batch because, again, it can take like 10 days to 2 weeks for this to be ready. So as soon as you like finish a batch, then you can go ahead and get the next batch started. This kombucha turned out so good. I ended up putting some kiwi slices in it later, so that way I could do like a second fermentation, and you can really taste the kiwi. It tastes absolutely phenomenal. Then for this was either lunch or snack or maybe dinner, I don't even know, but I had some of my cultured cream ice cream. So it's just egg yolks, a little bit of honey, and my cultured cream that I made, and that's what I ate for dinner. Then this morning, I am making one of those teas with the egg yolks. Just so creamy, so frothy. And I made more eggs and spinach and chicken. Then I'm getting a roast ready. So this is going to be kind of like a pot roast. And I believe I put green beans and radishes and turnips in it. If you have not had cooked radishes and even cooked turnips, they are so good. The radishes are not spicy at all. They resemble kind of like a potato, and they are so delicious. So definitely try that out if you haven't. I am having some broth for a snack. I have definitely heated up cups of broth and then I just forget to like film them, but you really should be consuming a couple cups of broth like every single day if you're not eating soup. Now I'm going to be working on some fermented salsa. So I was very excited for this because my eggs are very boring and I really wanted to start having like some condiments. And so I put in some peeled canned whole tomatoes, some onion, some jalapenos, some salt, and some spices. Technically, I probably am not supposed to have these spices until I'm like later on like stage 5, but we're just going on with it. And so I put like lime and cilantro in there and sauerkraut juice, which is what is going to like make it fermented. So once it's all in the jar, then I stuck it in my pantry for like 3 days before putting it in my fridge. It is phenomenal, guys. Like, it is so good. I'm never buying salsa ever again. I'm always going to make fermented salsa. It's just so good. Now I'm working on some fermented ketchup. So it was tomato paste, apple cider vinegar, salt. I think I'm putting some pickle juice in there, some spices. And again, mix this up, put it in a jar, put it in your pantry for like 2 to 3 days. This also turned out great. Is it the same as regular ketchup? No, absolutely not. And I kind of wish I would have like thinned it out more. It was definitely more thicker. So I might look for another recipe because I'm not like sold on this one like I was for the salsa. But I would love to just continue making like fermented ketchups and salsas. And I really want to make mustard too. I haven't done that yet. Here's the pot roast. We had this for dinner and I put a bunch of ghee on the vegetables once I had them on the plate, and I ate mine with some sauerkraut. So it definitely has been nice being able to eat things other than soup because I was really starting to get tired of soup. But now that I'm actually over here in week 3, you know, me that's talking, I actually am kind of missing soup. So yeah, so okay, today is the first day I'm trying avocado. So this is a new addition. I believe this is on, I forget, stage 3 or 4. I can't remember now. But I'm having some soft-boiled eggs with some avocado, and don't make my mistake. You're supposed to only have a little bit of each thing when you introduce it, and I was eating a whole avocado because I didn't want to go to waste. And guess what? I actually had like reflux the whole rest of the day, which I never have. The only time I've ever had that is while I was pregnant, and I'm definitely not pregnant. So just be careful when you're, you know, going into each stage and make sure you're not incorporating too many things. All right, I'm having another tea, and I also was cooking zucchini in a pot that I am pureeing because that's going to be squash pancakes that I'm going to have for breakfast the next morning, I believe. Just having some leftovers of the pot roast and stuff. Something that I have really got into the habit of, which I like, is that you're not supposed to cook any of your food in the microwave on this because it steals the nutrients out. So for 2 weeks, well, me now 3 weeks, I've been heating up everything in the oven or on the stove, and it's actually not harder like I thought. I mean, at least it's not harder for soups, and I even heated up like leftover salmon and stuff in the oven the other day, and because I already used glass Pyrex dishes, I just took it out of the fridge and put it in the oven. So that's actually been nice that it's really easy. I am actually making the cauliflower leek soup again because I just loved it so much, and I was using up some broth that I had left over, so I am eating that for dinner. Then on day 12, it is finally time I can have squash pancakes. So ideally, this would probably be better with pumpkin, but obviously since it's August, there's no pumpkin yet. So I cooked the zucchini, and I did like a cup of zucchini, 2 eggs, and then like a cup of almond butter. Again, you probably should make your own fermented almond butter. I just had almond butter from Costco. So, you know, I can't follow every single thing to a T, but I fried these up. these were way better than I expected. I thought these were going to be absolutely disgusting, and they were actually really good. And Alice actually kept stealing bites from me, so she really liked them too. I actually have made these multiple times now, but I did get a can of organic pumpkin. You're not really supposed to use stuff in cans for this, but I really want pumpkin pancakes now that it's getting more into the fall, but there still is not like whole squashes anywhere. So I'm hoping the pumpkin ones are going to turn out just as good as the zucchini ones. I'm topping it with ghee and some honey and then some cultured cream. For lunch, I just heated up leftover soup, and I was quick eating that during Alice's nap. And then I had one of my frozen honey ghee fat bombs. I mean, it's literally just ghee and a little honey. And then I'm going to be making a fish soup again because I still had fish stock left, and this stock was so thick and gelatinous. So that was a really good sign that I got lots of, nice collagen and healing properties in there. But I'm pretty much just making the exact same soup, zucchini, onion, carrot, but this time I'm adding some frozen tilapia I had, so that way I didn't have to worry about bones. And then at the end, I believe I added some fresh lemon, and that was really good. So I think I did ginger, lemon, and garlic. Oh, I also added some shrimp that I had in the freezer. This was a really good soup though. It was like chowder. And now I am making homemade yogurt. I am putting my raw milk in the Instapot. I am heating it up. I just like the thick yogurt better. I still strain it, but I just want my yogurt to be really thick. So I'm putting it in the Instapot. I'm heating it to 180, even though it is raw milk, and you kind of want to keep those properties, but I like the thick yogurt better. While that's heating up and going, I was finishing up my soup, and we're having soup with some ghee for dinner. And then here I am, the yogurt heated up, it cooled down. I'm adding my just store-bought yogurt for a starter, and then I'm turning it on so that way it can be at 110 degrees for 24 hours. So I won't even mess with it until the evening of the next day. Now I'm just making more pancakes. This is just leftover batter from what I made yesterday. And then this day I was specifically going to a street festival in the morning, and I really wanted to stay on plan. And on full gaps, once you get through the stages, you're allowed to have decaf organic coffee. And I just did not want to be tempted by the apple cider donuts and the coffee shops and all of the amazing things at this festival. So I made myself a little bit of pancakes. I wasn't very hungry though because we had to leave so early. So I just quick ate something little so that way I could just be satiated even though I was not hungry. And then I made myself a coffee, but what I did is I poured the organic decaf coffee that I made with some ghee, and I put that in the blender, and then I did the Russian custard with like the egg, like the blended egg yolks, just like I was doing with tea, and I mixed that with the coffee in my thermos, and it came out really frothy and absolutely delicious. So I feel like I did a good thing by mostly sticking to plan, and I did not eat one single thing at the festival. I didn't feel left out. I had my coffee, which seemed like such a big treat. So yeah, pat myself on the back. I am cleaning up some of these like ferments that I had in the pantry. So I had made more pickles, I had my salsa, I had my ketchup. I'm putting all of that in the fridge because those are done fermenting. And I want to say, if you're following my weight loss journey, I actually had lost 2 more pounds this week, but then I actually gained a pound back, and then recently I kind of like lost it again and gained it again. Anyway, so I'm kind of hovering at like 205, and I was 211 when I actually started GAPS, and I was actually 215 when we came back from vacation when I first started keto. So I guess it's good that I'm 10 pounds down, but I was like so happy about the rapid weight loss in the beginning of GAPS, and now I'm just stuck again, and I don't understand really why, because as you can see, I'm eating very healthy. I just don't know why my body is like that. And so here I am, I'm just making a chicken stock because I needed extra chicken stock, and I'm eating leftover seafood chowder with some sauerkraut. But yeah, that's kind of very irritating to me. So I don't know if I'm going to continue losing weight as I go on this, or maybe I need to go back to stages 1 and 2 and eat more soup to keep losing weight. I don't even know. I mean, I'm sure that I'll be healing a little bit more once my sister actually gets my GI map done. Hopefully I will be able to tell you guys about that in my next video for week 3. Here I am, I'm making what is called a Mexican chicken soup. Don't know why it's called that, because literally you can't use any spices. So it was just chicken, my chicken broth I made, tomato paste, lime juice, and then I topped it with avocado and cultured cream. I mean, it kind of just tasted like tomato soup to me. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't like terrible. Here's my yogurt, super thick. I'm going to put it in the fridge, and then tomorrow I will actually strain it out. So we are on day 14. So my 2 full weeks of being on this diet. I'm eating the last bit of my pancakes that I made, and I'm making some eggs, and I'm putting some avocado. And today I am trying out my fermented salsa. It was so good. So I actually ate this a lot just this past week, so you'll see that in the next video. But here I am. I'm going to strain out my yogurt. Look how thick that is, nice and thick, and we're going to put it in here to make it even thicker, especially because I need the whey, because I want to make some fermented ginger carrots later on. So yeah, I wanted to get the whey, I wanted to have thick yogurt, and then for lunch I'm just eating some leftover soup. I decided to put some salsa in it to make the flavor better. And now I'm going to make some meatloaf. So I'm just doing ground beef, garlic, and onions, and some eggs. And then I'm forming those into little tiny patties. And then we're just having green beans and peas with lots of ghee on the side. And then I'm topping the meatloaves with my fermented ketchup. And this was so good. I mean, you can't go wrong with like green beans and butter or like ghee. It is so good, and I love meatloaf. I usually make my meatloaf like even better than this, but because I'm following this, I had to just go with simple. But such a good meal, and Alice, she also loves green beans. She also loves broccoli. So yeah, I mean, she just had the same plate as us, and she was hogging down the green beans, but I can't blame her. So anyway, I'll see you guys in week 3's video. Hopefully you're enjoying seeing this journey, and maybe I'll have better updates next week.